All right, you want to just go like real quick soundbite of who we are, what we do, and then into the first wine?
Yeah, I love that.
All right. Well, hello, Dave. My name is Rhys. I am the winemaker at Vallee du Venom. My wife and I make 20 to 25 tonnes a year of small batch mineral intervention wines. We're using wild yeast. We're not filtering. We're not fining. We're picking fruit by hand. We're not adding any acids. We do add sulfur, tiny bit, just enough to keep our wine safe. And pH is our friend. So the first wine we're going to look at is Chenin Blanc. Chenin Blanc from Margaret River. The vineyard is in between Margie's and Yells. We pick about 2 to 3 tonnes a year from this vineyard. It's a mixture of hand-picked and machine-picked. This particular wine from 22, we had a great year, no disease pressure, picked around pH 3.1, and then fermented in steel, cold settled, then racked into half oak, half steel, and then blended back at the end. Fairly straightforward winemaking. And we're looking for acid drive, yellow fruit spectrum, bit of a crowd pleaser.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, it seems to be going really well for us, especially in the sort of larger bar brewery scene. So we've got it on the pour at a couple of big breweries in WA. It's really interesting. Must just be quite friendly towards that set who drink beer but want to have a glass of wine perhaps with their food.
And Western Australian Chenin, it's iconic. You know, it's crisp but clean. It's not that rounded, fuzzy French vibe that you're going for. Very refreshing. Little yellow apple, little line of graphite. I'm into it.
That's it. Chenin's so good to work with because it's so versatile. Like we do a 100% oak fermented version as well. That's sold out at the moment. And we do a sparkling with it as well, a pet nat. So it's a pleasure to work with. Yeah, the pet nat's sick. I'll tell you more about that after the meeting, perhaps. It's not.
That'd be awesome as a pet nat.
Yeah. We leave it on leaves for like 6 months and then riddle and just gorge it. You do get those tertiary flavours, and it comes out clear and bubbly. You know, it's an interesting way to make it.
Love that.
Okay, moving on. Next wine I'm going to show you is our 2022 social currency. So this is a co-ferment of Grenache and Temp. We do 50% Temp, 50% Grenache, 2 rows of vines picked on the same day, and they're side by side, so same terroir. Again, wild ferment, unfined, unfiltered. But the winemaking on this is pretty cool. We do essentially a layer cake of the semi-carbonic maceration with whole bunches of Grenache in the bottom, then whole berries of Grenache and Temp in the middle, followed by crushed fruit on top. We plunge super gently for 7 to 9 days generally, and we are really careful we don't actually touch those whole bunches, keep them intact. And then when we press off, we get about 550 litres to the tonne. So very, very light extraction.
Very light.
Going for a really pretty, smashable, friendly wine here. Definitely a more spring, summer red, I would suggest.
Gorgeous. It's like Central Vic Pinot.
I'll take that for sure.
Yeah, it's like cool climate, Central Vic Pinot. Like it's round, it's soft, it's refreshing. Like there's a little bit of spice to it, but nothing like big baker's spice kind of rocking you around. It's just in the background, little delicate, little tannin on the front tip of my tongue. Wow.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I think for me as well that the aromatic profile is really interesting. I always see different things in it, kind of like a Pinot. So I'll take any kind of comparison to Pinot, that's for sure. Cool. Next wine is our 2022 Syrah. So again, our reds are young because we keep on selling out, which is a good and bad thing, right? So I want to see this wine in a couple of years' time as well. But this vineyard's my favourite It's dry growing, extremely low yielding. Had no sprays in the vineyard last year. It's an organic grown vineyard, not even copper sulfur. And again, hand-picked, wild ferment, unfine, unfiltered, with no additions but sulfur.
Oh,
I should mention too, this wine, zero oak. Same with the Grenache Temp, social currency, zero oak on both wines.
zero. Good call.
Yeah. Both purely steel fermented. We're trying to keep it as pure as possible.
And this one doesn't have that jamminess that Syrah can go into, or that green plum kind of vibe that Syrah lends itself to.
Yeah. Again, like we get great pH from this vineyard. About 3.3. This is picked up.
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see it develop in bottle over a couple of years. I think it just really smooth out and become quite unctuous.
We love that word, unctuous.
I thought you might like that.
And that's quite a nod to your French connection of being in the mountains down in like southwest France, because that's what they're making down there. You know,
definitely. Yep. There is a connection there. We bought a place over in the French Alps back in the day, which I sadly had to sell a couple of years ago to put in a drain in the winery, because drains cost a lot, and putting underground baffle tanks and everything. So whenever I see that bloody drain, I always think of that ski apartment we had in the Alps, unfortunately. Yeah, we spent a lot of time in the Alps, and huge inspiration for our winemaking. Very gentle, gritty wines. We love the Monjuice, the Gamay, the Jacqueries, those kind of mountain alpine wines. Obviously, the terroir is a lot different, but you can influence the winemaking with gentle extraction and careful winemaking,
And there's that little bit of white pepper floralness. Just at the back.
Definitely.
It's like a little poking its head up there, but the tannins, there's a structure on the front palate and the back of my lips. Yum. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think, again, I don't know if you've noticed, but our wild yeast ferments may not be perceived as wild yeast, but they're quite clean smelling, which seems to always throw people in the industry. Like, you can make clean, non-funky wines with wild yeast. You just got to be super careful. And I don't know if you see on Instagram, but I have a really cheesy hashtag. I call myself a sanitation king. Have you seen that?
I haven't. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, my wife hates it. But like, I bought this really flash 12-amp steamer from Germany, and I steam the fuck out of everything.
Just everything that's steamed?
Dude, it's like we're walking into a steel factory, just steam coming out of the winery. Like, it's brilliant. I can get my tanks up to 100 degrees Celsius. Like, you can throw, it's incredible. And the barrels are so hot, you can't put your finger inside of them, it just burns you. So it's incredible.
Wow.
Well, if you're going to use wild yeast and bugger all sulfur, you got to make sure your sanitation game's on point,
Fascinating. So what about the French guys up in the mountains who are doing it all out of a cave, and it's dirt everywhere, and all their tools are covered in dirt and shit?
That's why they don't mind a bit of 4EG, 4EP in their Burgundy, right? They don't give a shit. But you can take parts, you can culturally appropriate parts of different winemaking cultures,
Yeah.
I've messed around with Amphora and Poivre in the past, and yeah, it looks cool, but I don't think it suits our vineyard. There's too much earthiness and mustiness to them that I can't seem to I don't know, get my head around. So for us, it's all about steel ferments, wild ferments, clean ferments, good nutrition, and pH is our guiding light. We kind of make decisions based around pH, which might sound intuitive to flavour, but invariably, if you get your pH and ferment right, the flavour comes out as well. We're not trying to make trophy standout, Cabernets and 15% dialed back acid, water, new oak. We're trying to make real wines. It sounds cliched, I know, but
No,
Yeah,
no, I'm about it.
do it.
I hate that Treasury accolade method of making like these huge just battleships of wine that are just terrible. Yeah. Like they've got
Yeah, but
everything on, like you can land a jet on them, they can go to the other side of the planet. Like they're not what we want.
they're not. But our dads love it because they've spent their life smoking a pack a day and can't taste anything. So a
Yep.
big broth of Shiraz gets the job done.
Yeah, stain the lips, get it all red and stained. You can say inappropriate things.
Yeah, it's always like at Christmas. So.
When you said sanitation king before, and we're talking about keeping your winery real clean, in my head I just had that scene of in like watching that sake documentary on Netflix.
Yeah,
And you know how they take off all their clothes and they have a shower and get into like a towel nappy,
yep.
and then they go into the room with the rice. And now
I
then
know.
I have to stir it. But before then, it's like completely sealed off.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, look, I love that documentary, but I choked up and that big dude died. Yeah. Awful.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. I wanted to learn about brewing sake, and then I'm like, oh, I'm really invested in
Oh
this.
man, he have to die. Like he seemed healthy. I don't know. It's funny. Emma and I just booked flights to Hokkaido for a ski trip in January and February, and yeah, it's going to be sick. We're going to go heli skiing hopefully if the weather holds out for us. So we'll see how we go.
Hell
But
yeah.
I'm leveraging. I'm turning 40, so I'm leveraging that 40th birthday to pay for the heli skiing. You only get one chance, I think, when you're 40 to do shit like that.
Yeah, big time.
What's that space? All right, let's get into some Malbec.
Hell yeah, this is the one that is kind of the pride and joy for the vineyards.
I think so. Like I was saying to Dave earlier, are we talking in third person here, or it doesn't make sense? I was saying to you earlier, Dave, this vineyard, we've locked it up for the last few years, and every year the big groups, the enemy, I shouldn't say that, but the big wineries always try and swoop in and grab this Malbec. And every year the price goes slightly up, but we have to just keep on paying it.
Oh, the aromatics on that are leaping out of the glass.
Cool. So this is a 21 Malbec. Again, the usual standard winemaking policy for us: unfined, unfiltered, wild yeast, minimal sulfur, 100% old oak for 12 months, and then wrapped, bottled. Fairly simple winemaking.
Oh, that's gorgeous. There's like a chewiness to that, just even on the nose, of like rich, like fruit first, but then there's that maturity tertiary coming in underneath.
It's an interesting wine. Like every time we make it, about 12 months to 18 months in, it just turns a corner and the tannin profile just flattens out beautifully. It becomes almost seamless. I think this is still looking fairly young for a 21. And I think because the previous one we had was a slightly warmer year and it kind of developed a bit quicker. But this will put it down for 10 years, I reckon.
Oh, that is stunning. It's so soft.
Yeah.
Well, but being powerful, it's not like soft and gentle. It's like soft and powerful.
Yeah, the fruit concentration's there. Yeah, for sure. And again, gentle production, I think we get about 600 litres of the ton.
So still very light.
Still very light. Yeah, we're not going to add finding agents, right? So those pressings, we don't really want it to try and deal with it or blend it away. We can afford not to. So why mess around with it? Just do one press and just cut it off when you think it's ready to go.
And do you do the like bottom of the tank purge?
I certainly do.
Yeah, just like let it settle and then just like
Yeah. I'm a not reverse racking, a bottom racking theme these days. Like I don't even bother with the racking valve anymore. I just purge it and then let it go. We use gravity where possible, but I bought in my supplier was really pissed at me because I wanted the smallest, slowest pump he could find, and so we pump slower than gravity racking, and so when you do that way, you get a really nice settling of even the fine solids. Because when you gravity rack, people think it's the best way, but I'm not convinced because the control's not there. And you know, when you're sucking on a tube from a barrel, you can get oxygen bubbles in there. You can get it splashing in. There's less control. I don't care who you are. Everyone sucked down a bit of wine and coughed up before, and oh shit! And then you're trying to get it in the barrel. So yeah, this pump is tiny.
Little fish tank guy. You bought a little aquarium guy.
So like to rack 1,000 liters takes me about half an hour, you know. It's a fucking nightmare, but I think it does a good job at what I'm trying to do. Because other thing is too, like, have you heard about the shearing effects of different size pipes and different velocities?
I have not. I understand that it's a consideration that winemakers talk about, but I haven't.
Yeah. Or just working in commercial wineries where you're using these huge pumps and you're smashing your wine through these big impellers and just cutting it up, and then you're forcing it through a line. Those shearing effects make the winery smell beautiful. All those aromatics just going up in the air. You can smell
out of the wine.
Out of the wine. Yeah. So I just think if you got time, be gentle as possible and, you know, treat it with respect, and you get a better product though.
Oh, that's
anyway.
fascinating.
Well,
to wrap this up, thank you so much for your time. What's next for Vallee du Venom? Vallee du Venom.
Vallee du Venom, yeah.
Vallee du Venom.
Verify the pronunciation.
Yeah, good. My French is awful, so thank you for guiding me on that.
So for us, we keep on growing. We've started out like super small tonnage. Every year we're going up. We finished building our winery. We're in a position now where hopefully I'm not spending any more cash on tanks or toys or bits and pieces. I can just focus on purely the winemaking, which is kind of what I want to do.
You've got your steamer, you've got your tiny fish tank pump.
Yeah.
You're done. You're ready.
Well, you know what's funny is like all my mates down here in the industry give me shit because I really overcapitalise on the press. I bought like this state-of-the-art, brand new from Germany, this Europress, and it's a spaceship, you know. And everyone's like, "Why'd you buy that? Why'd you buy that?" I'm like, I wanted the perfect toy for the winery. I wanted the perfect press, you know, and delivered. So, yeah, all the capital it's sorted. It's now we've got plans into the Shire for a cellar door to open up. So watch that space. We've got distribution in WA locked down. We're starting to get our wines over east into Melbourne and Sydney especially. And you're looking forward to making more volume and just refining our processes. You know, it takes 4 or 5 years just to really understand the vineyards, I reckon, probably longer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think at the start, we're trying to just push vineyards to do things they weren't meant to do. And now we're working with them a bit better. And the wines keep on every year getting classier and classier. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
These will be available and sourced by the time you're watching this video. Awesome.